With Joe Biden resigning from office, we can see this has thrown the American politics into chaos. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be going over the most recent polling from each state. And we're going to be breaking down each swing state, state by state. But first, we're going to start off with the letter of Joe Biden. The last couple of days, he just came out saying he will not be running for re-election. And instead, he will endorse Kamala Harris as the next Democratic nominee. And as you can see, the polling is right on point. She already has an 82.3% chance of winning that nominee. Now, there has been other speculation where Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton could run, even Newsom and Whitmer. But after Joe Biden has endorsed her and everybody is starting to seem to unite around Harris, especially because she's the VP, I personally believe she will be the nominee. And as you can see, she already is up 80% in the polls of being that nominee. Now, if we come over here and we see in the most recent polling, we can see in each state, we're going to be polling Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and seeing which state flips each way for the 2024 election. Now, we're going to start off with Donald Trump's safe states. These are the states that I think Donald Trump is going to win for sure. He's won them in 2016 and in 2020, and I just see no possible way Kamala Harris is going to pull out these states. We're going to start off with the state of Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. He's going to win the Dakotas, as well as Nebraska at large and its 1st and 3rd district. He's going to win the state of Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Alaska, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, and Maine 2nd district. And I'm going to go ahead and put Iowa, Ohio, Florida, and Texas in there. And the reason I put in these states in there is because he has won these states in 2016 and in 2020, and usually the polling in each 4 of these states usually underestimate Donald Trump. And the most recent polling in these states usually has Donald Trump up by 9 or 10 points, and I think he is going to win these states, and I see no possible way this time around that Kamala Harris is going to win these states. Now we're going to start off with the states of Kamala Harris. I see no possible way Donald Trump's going to win these states. They've been voting Democrat for quite some time now. That she's also going to win the state of Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, and the state of New York. So as you can see, all the states that I have on the map right now are going to be the safe states for each candidate. Kamala Harris starts off with a 166 lead, and Donald Trump has a 219, giving him only a few more states from getting that 270 mark. First, I'm going to start off with the Nebraska's 2nd district and Maine's district. We're going to start with the state of Maine. As you can see, the most recent polling still has Biden up right now. They haven't factored in Kamala Harris just because it happened a few days ago. But most people that are vote for Biden are probably going to vote for Kamala. And as you can see in the most recent poll, they do have Donald Trump up a few points in the state of Maine at large. And this is because if you include Kennedy, which he will be in the race, Donald Trump takes the state at large. And if you come down here and scroll down to the Maine's 1st district, you can see Biden is up by 8 points. And I think Kamala Harris is going to inherit those Biden supporters. And I think Maine's 1st district is going to go likely to Kamala. And I think Donald Trump is going to win the state at large by a tilt margin. Now, if you come over here to Nebraska's 2nd district, Donald Trump did win this district in 2016, and Joe Biden won it in 2020. It's usually more college educated, and as you can come over here and see the most recent poll coming out of this district, you can see Biden had 42% and Trump had 42%, making it a dead tie with both candidates. So we can't be taking this poll because it is a tie, but if we scroll down and see the most recent poll, we can see in Maine, Nebraska's 2nd district, Biden is up by 5. And I do think with all the support growing around Donald Trump with his the assassination attempt and the RNC convention, I do think this is a year that is going to look more like Donald Trump in 2016 than in 2020. So I am going to give Nebraska's 2nd district to Donald Trump because of all the support that is growing around him. And as you can see in the most recent poll, it does show them tied, showing Donald Trump's lead growing closer in that district. Our first swing state we're going to start with is going to be the state of New Hampshire. If you come over here and see in the most recent polls, you can see Harris versus Trump Trump is up by 1 point, and this is if you include Kennedy, which he got 21% of the vote, which is crazy. I do think if Kennedy is going to win a state, he is going to win the state of New Hampshire. But as you can see, if you include Kennedy, which he will be in the race, Donald Trump is leading in the state of New Hampshire by 1 point against Kamala Harris, giving New Hampshire a tilt for Donald Trump. We will come to the state of New Jersey. Now, New Jersey is very interesting. New Jersey is usually a pure blue state for the Democrats. It's usually safe. Hillary Clinton won it in 2016, Obama won it, and in 2020 Joe Biden won it. So it is usually a safe blue state, but Donald Trump has made this state into a new swing state this year. And as you can see, if we come over here in the most recent polling, you can see that Donald Trump is up by 1. Now this was against Biden, so we're going to have to see some new polling come out of this state for Harris. But again, if you include Kennedy, Donald Trump is leading by 1 in this state. So at the moment, we are going to give the state of New Jersey a tilt margin for Donald Trump. And if we come over here to the state of Pennsylvania, we can see in this state, Donald Trump's lead is very close to Biden, but at the moment, Biden did drop out. So if we come to the most recent poll, we can see On Point Politics predicted a poll where it shows Trump up by 4 against Harris, making the state of Pennsylvania more of a lean margin for Donald Trump. And if we come over here to the state of Virginia with its 13 electoral votes, this state is usually a blue state. In 2016, it went for Hillary, and in 2020, it went for Biden, and I'm pretty sure Obama won this state too. And at the moment, you can see Biden's lead in this state is getting shorter and shorter. But again, with Biden dropping out and Donald Trump's support growing even more, we can see in the most recent poll conducted against Harris, Donald Trump is leading in this state. Now, these polls do factor in Kennedy a little bit, with him taking 5 or 7% of the vote. But again, Donald Trump has completely flipped the state of Virginia, making it also a lean margin for Donald Trump. And if we scroll down to North Carolina with its 16 electoral votes, we can see in the state that Donald Trump has won this state both times, just like Texas and Florida and Iowa and Ohio. But this state is usually a bit more closer than all these 4 states. He did win it in 2016 and 2020, and as you can see in the most recent poll, it does show how close the state is. But at the moment, Donald Trump is almost up by 7 points in the state. And if you come down here and conduct in the most recent poll, we can see Trump is beating Harris by 4 points, even if you include Kennedy, making the state of North Carolina, just like its neighbors, a lean margin for Trump. Now, if we scroll down to the state of Georgia with its 16 electoral votes, we can see in this state is usually a Republican state. They have a Republican governor and usually vote Republican. But in 2020, Biden somehow pulled it off by just a hair. But Donald Trump did win this state in 2016, and with all the support growing around him, I definitely think he will win this state back. As you can see in the most recent polling, Trump is up by 6 points in this state. And if you can see, they do have a lot of Biden polls, but the one Harris poll, we can see that Trump is leading by 5 points in this state, making the state of Georgia also a lean margin for Donald Trump to win. And if we go across the United States to New Mexico with its 5 electoral votes, I definitely think New Mexico and Virginia are going to be probably the closest swing states this year. Usually they vote blue in the last couple elections, but Donald Trump, with its growing support, has completely shifted in these states, making them very close margins. As you can see in the most recent poll, we don't have a Harris poll, but Biden is only leading by 1 point if you include Kennedy. Now, if we factor in all the support growing around Donald Trump, and with New Mexico being the most populated Hispanic state, and with Hispanics growing for Donald Trump, I definitely think Donald Trump has a very high chance of pulling off New Mexico. But just to be safe, we are going to give the state to Kamala just by a tilt margin, just because at the moment the polls do show Biden up by 1%. And if we go up to the state of Colorado with its 10 electoral votes, Colorado is one of the most shifting blue states at the moment, one of the only states in the United States that is heavily shifting more towards the left. And as you can see in the most recent polling, we don't have a Harris poll, but Biden is up by 10%. That will make Colorado more of a lean state for Kamala Harris to win. And if we scroll down to another big swing state, we can see Arizona with its 11 electoral votes usually is in the middle. They voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and then they went for Joe Biden in 2020. Again, it was just like Georgia. Biden only won the state of Arizona by a hair. But at the moment, you can see Donald Trump is leading in this state by 5.5 points. And if you scroll down and conduct the most recent poll against Harris, you can see he is up by 6% if you include Kennedy as well, which he will be in the race, making the state of Arizona likely win for Donald Trump. And if we scroll up to the state of Nevada with its 6 electoral votes, again, Nevada is usually like Arizona. Biden did win this state in 2020, and I think Hillary won it in 2016. But again, with Donald Trump's growing support, we can see this state has shifted completely. Donald Trump is up by 5.5 points. And in the most conducted poll against Harris, we can see Donald Trump is up by 10 points, making this state actually a safe state for Donald Trump. And if we scroll up to the Rust Belt, we can see these are the states that are going to play a critical role in this election. We can see in the state of Minnesota, Biden is dead tied with Donald Trump. But again, he did drop out, and we don't have any polls with Kamala Harris. But we're just going to take the most recent poll. And as you can see, Trump is up winning this state. Even if you include Kennedy and the other parties, we can see Donald Trump has completely shifted the state of Minnesota to a tilt margin. Now, Minnesota hasn't voted blue since like the 1970s, but I do believe Donald Trump will pull off this state this year. And if we go over to Wisconsin with its 10 electoral votes, we can see in the Wisconsin, Trump is up by 2.3%. And in the most recent poll, they do conduct Biden, but if we take the most recent poll with Harris, we can see in this state they are dead tied. Now, this was a poll sponsored by the Democratic Party, but again, in this state, we can see that both of these candidates are dead tied. But if we come down, even though this poll is a little bit old from July 10th through 11th, we can see, again, sponsored by the Democratic Party, Donald Trump is leading by 1 point in the state of Wisconsin against Harris, making the state of Wisconsin a tilt, just like Minnesota for Donald Trump. And if we scroll over to our last state on this map, Michigan, with its 15 electoral votes, we can see in this state, Trump is up by 2.2%. And if you conduct the most recent poll against Harris, even if you include Kennedy, which he got 6% of the vote, Donald Trump is leading by 5 points in this state. Now, this poll, again, was conducted by a Democratic Party sponsor, but again, Donald Trump is leading by 5 points, making the state of Michigan a likely win for Donald Trump. Now, as you can see, this is the final result of the map. If we conclude Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, we can see Trump is starting to lose in New Mexico, which I think he might pull off. But we can see he is flipping other states like Virginia, Minnesota, and even New Hampshire and New Jersey. That gives Donald Trump a 356 win versus Kamala's 182.